guys, Happy New Year! We are almost in February, but I wanted to come and film an update. A lot has been happening in the past 2 months, most of it not garden related. Actually, I'll give you guys a quick kind of recap of what's been happening. So I have stage 4 endometriosis, and I had to have surgery on December 26th. Previously, I had one in the summertime of 2023, and they were able to get most of it out, but it came back with a vengeance. So yeah, I had another major surgery December 26th, which kind of laid me out. I still have a couple more weeks of recovery before the doctor lets me lift anything heavy or do any like strenuous exercise or anything like that. So my garden had to be put on hold, but I'm recovering good. Menopause is fun, but I feel like I'm doing great. So nothing to complain about, and I'm pain free, so it's very exciting. So Will and I decided we're gonna just take a walk around, kind of assess the situation when it comes to the garden, because everything is dormant right now. Everything kind of looks dead, and it's a little scary because you don't know what's going to wake up in the spring. But I'll kind of walk around, show you what everything looks like, and give you a little garden tour update. So let's start right here with our little vineyard. As you can see, tons of weeds. So these are chives and stuff like that. Chamomile seems to be surviving. So I'll just need to go through and just weed the heck out of all of this. If you can see, our kiwi vine right here looks like it's still alive. It's very dormant right now, and it looks scary. But what they tell you is to check to see if something's alive is kind of scratch the stem, and if it's white or green, that means the plant is still alive even when it's dormant. Same thing with my grapevines here. These are Concord grapes, and we have another variety over there. They look like they're dead, but they're very much alive. They're just dormant. So I feel really good about that. We got St. John's wort right there amongst the weeds. That is still very much alive, and then the rosemary is still alive. So this all should come back, and you can see little baby strawberries. Those will come back. So just weeding in this garden. Otherwise, it is doing really well. I'm not sure if my tarragon will come back. We did have snow for the first time in 4 years last week. So yeah, that kind of threw everybody for a loop, and we just have to recover from that. But yeah, lots of weeding here, but it looks, this is a currant bush with red currants. I just planted this, and this is very much alive. It's just dormant. So we're gonna have currants growing here, and that should be fun, because I always wanted to grow some currants and gooseberries. Same thing with this dwarf peach. It looks like it's dead. It's just dormant, and actually it's putting out new buds. You can see how many buds are on this tree. It's very interesting. So I'm very happy with that. Our herbs are also dormant, but you can see the redness. It wants to sprout. As soon as it gets above 40 degrees, everything just kind of goes, yay, and then it starts growing again. So it's very exciting. All right, so in this section, as you can see, we can see all of these sticks and weeds that just need to be addressed. I may have to dig this out. I think this used to be a Bradford pear that they cut down, but it just puts up suckers every single spring, and that's what it did last year. So we might have to do something about this root system, because it's very invasive. Our blackberries are putting out new growth. They're still in dormancy, but they're putting out new growth. So very happy about our blackberry patch. There's one here and one around the corner there. Over here, so I'm not sure if our ground berries are gonna sprout at all. they are buried all along this fence line, and I see no signs of them. So maybe they'll sprout, but maybe I might need to get some more from the horticulturist that I got the originals from. Goji berry, still very much alive and kicking. You can see it's putting out new leaves and stuff like that. It did freeze, and you can kind of feel the if you've ever held frozen leaves and stuff like that, they kind of feel almost rubbery. So you can tell this little tree froze, but it is very much alive. So very happy about that. I got 2 new hazelnut trees. Did you know that hazelnuts are actually called velberts, like most around the world? But I got these little baby, I call them whips just because they're like first year. But they kind of grow in like a bush. So I planted one here and one there. So they're going to be kind of the understory of our almond tree here. And you can see, I was really scared about our almond tree, but you can see all these new buds that are coming in for the spring. So I'm probably going to prune it a little bit more, or I might just leave it. And it should do really well in the spring. So I'm very excited. All right, so this yard looks kind of crazy because it's just like sticks sticking out of the ground, and everything kind of looks dead. But I did take a good look. So our tea, Camellia sinensis, is making it through the winter very well, and so I'm going to try to propagate this in the spring and kind of grow that little hedge a little bit. Our mulberry is doing great. It's very much alive, very dormant, but very much alive, and it's growing really well. So I'll probably prune this back, all of these sections that were kind of eaten, and it looks like the tips froze quite a bit. So this just needs to be pruned, but it's very much alive. Very excited about that. Our little garden over here is possibly dead. So a couple of the plants look like they're just dormant and they're surviving right here and right there. But this plant, whatever it's called, I'm not sure if it's even going to come back. I don't know if it froze. It got too cold for it this year. It has been a very cold winter. Everything else, if I'm looking at it, seems to be like, see, this is a new branch and this is a new branch, and you can see new buds coming on with these trees. So I feel really good about it. I feel like it's growing even though it's dormant right now. Let's see. Let's look at this one. And everything just needs to be cleaned up. And as you can see over there, some of the remnants of Hurricane Helene are still here. So we're still cleaning up, and this is the dead of winter. So you know, I'm going to be doing a whole lot of weeding, especially after the first week of February, when I get my medical clearance. So I'll be coming in and just cutting a lot of things back, pruning and cleaning it up and getting ready for spring. I do have bulbs that I planted here for some spring blooms, and so it looks like some of them have started to poke their heads out. So we might have flowers in early spring here, and it's very exciting. But everything seems to be pretty happy despite the freezing temperatures. Let's go see the flower garden. So when it comes to herbaceous perennials, it is really a test of faith, because everything just dies back. And it looks so desolate, and it looks like everything just died. Like, you can see this whole section. There is bulbs all up under the ground. There's a whole bunch of plants everywhere. And I ended up just cutting it, you know, back. Like, some of these were just dry. This is, what is this called? Yeah, let's see. Oh, bee balm, of course. Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering the names of stuff. But I mean, it looks dead and rough, and hopefully everything wakes up in the spring. I did buy a witch hazel tree, and I'm excited about this because obviously it has medicinal properties, but it also blooms in the winter. So I would love to have some blooming happening in this garden in the winter. So very excited to have that. And then our little, this is a, what am I trying to remember? I'm terrible with names right now. But anyway, that is a flower, and that is still alive, very much dormant. And then I have a rose right here that I also planted. So hopefully, you know, in the years to come, it's gonna look a lot better. I was really worried about my pomegranate tree, but it's also very much alive. It's just in its dormancy. And here in February, I'm gonna come in and clean it up as far as pruning back some of the branches and stuff like that to kind of give it some shape and structure. So I'm very excited about that. Our little pond is frozen, and it looks like, you know, the water lilies and the other plants are dead, but they are still very much alive. I can see they're green on the inside under the ice. So hopefully everything just wakes up and grows. And then I did some cutting back this morning. These are mums, and they just, you know, they froze. So I'm cutting this back. I'm gonna obviously pick this up and move it onto a pile so the city can come pick it up. But it just looks so desolate and so weedy over here. But this is what a garden looks like in the winter. This is the reality of it. This garden has been neglected for about 5 weeks. I haven't really even been out here. I was in bed for a good 2 weeks, and then after that, I really can't do a lot of lifting, so everything's been neglected. But what's great is there's so much that has survived, and that's doing great. Like, for example, this morning I actually went out and I picked about 6 heads of broccoli, and I picked some carrots, and you can see there's still a bunch that is still growing and, you know, is going to be ready to pick here in a little bit. But let me show you, and some of it didn't make it. Like, we had snow last week for the first time in 4 years, and so a lot of this got frozen. So some of my broccoli didn't make it. It just looks like it's kind of rotting on the stalk. So, you know, obviously this will turn to mulch. But these broccolis, you can see, when you pick the crown, you just let the side shoots kind of grow. And so like this plant, we counted them earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 little crowns that are growing just from that head. So everything just kind of regenerates if you just let it keep growing. So lots of weeds in this garden. I'm gonna have to come in and just do a massive cleanup. But it looks like my herbs have all survived. My thyme looks like it was struggling for a while, but it looks like it's recovering pretty well. My sweet peas are not going to produce. Like, they look like they're alive and there's a couple flowers on them, but we've had so many freezes and so many cold snaps this year that it's, you know, it was too much for it. So this batch is probably just gonna get cleared out, and I'll plant some more in early spring. So hopefully we'll have some sweet peas in this spring, but yeah, this batch is a no-go, unfortunately. Everything else seems to be recovering, or, you know, doing pretty well. You can tell, like our cardoon is quite frozen. Our sorrel is quite frozen. The walking onions are frozen. The lettuces are frozen. Our snapdragons froze. But our collard greens are doing fantastic. I still have about 4 heads of cabbage that still need to be picked, that look great. Our kale is thriving. It loves this weather for some reason. And everything seems to be doing good. So I'm very happy with what it looks like. I'm glad all of it survived despite, you know, this being a much colder winter than usual. So it is what it is, and I can't wait for my doctor to tell me I can start digging again here in a couple weeks. I'm very excited about that. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a great spring, and I can't wait to show you how the garden wakes up in the spring. So stay tuned.